This will shock you. I'm about to reveal to you something that is very uncomfortable and inconvenient. Because I'm going to show you why the upcoming housing crash in 2024 will be worse than 2008. You see, if you're just like the average American Joe, who is living the American dream, a job as exciting as watching grass grow, a house straight out of a catalog, weekends spent pretending to be a grill master, and the annual family vacation that's as relaxing as a survival challenge, I hate to tell you this, but you're going to be in for a rude shock in 2024. Because your stable housing dreams are about to crumble faster than a cookie in a toddler's grip, potentially making the 2008 global financial crisis look like it was a bull market. Unfortunately, this time, the average American will be even more screwed than they got screwed in 2008 with the government once again bailing out the too-big-to-fail entities that caused this disaster in the first place. My name is the Money Mentor, and let me prove to you in under 10 minutes why there will be a housing crash in 2024, and not only that, it'll be worse than anything we've ever seen before. So what's the cause behind the crash? Awesomely mismanaged government fiscal policies that have led to skyrocketing mortgage rates in the U.S. domestic market. The unsettling surge in mortgage rates serves as the initial tremor, signaling a forthcoming housing market upheaval. The average 30-year mortgage rate in the United States has alarmingly eclipsed 7.6%, a level not seen since the turn of the millennium in December 2000. This significant rise transcends mere statistical concern. It represents a clear and present danger to the housing market's stability. For homeowners like Average Joe, who previously navigated his mortgage commitments with relative ease, this escalation translates to a sudden and stressful increase in monthly financial obligations. The once manageable mortgage bills have completely ballooned, mirroring a national predicament faced by countless homeowners. This rate hike is not an isolated economic blip, but a substantial indicator of deeper systemic issues within the housing market. The impact is palpable and immediate, stretching household budgets to their limits and reshaping the financial landscape for millions of Americans. The spike in mortgage rates serves as a stark reminder of the housing market's fragility, exposing vulnerabilities that many, including Joe, had not anticipated. And if that's not bad enough, let's talk about how inflation secretly screws you. To grasp the full scope of the impending housing market crash, a critical analysis of inflation's impact on home prices is essential. At first glance, the nominal increase in housing prices over the years paints a misleadingly rosy picture. However, when these prices are adjusted for inflation, the reality is jarringly different. Take, for example, Average Joe's house, which he purchased in 2000 for $200,000. Adjusted for inflation, this amount equates to approximately $356,000 in today's dollars, significantly eroding the perceived increase in the property's value. This inflation-adjusted viewpoint, as illuminated by the Case-Shiller Index, unveils a disturbing reality. The present housing market has not only reached, but substantially exceeded the inflated levels seen during the 2008 bubble. This revelation points to a burgeoning crisis, far more severe than what was witnessed over a decade ago. The inflation-adjusted prices reveal that the market is not just repeating the mistakes of the past, but is on a trajectory towards an even more perilous bubble. This alarming trend indicates that the housing market is in the throes of an inflation-fueled distortion, masking the true value of properties and setting the stage for a potential market collapse that could eclipse the infamous crisis of 2008. So what does history tell us? A historical perspective. From 2008 to now. The path to the current precarious state of the housing market can be traced back to the aftermath of the 2008 housing crash. In response to that crisis, the Federal Reserve embarked on a course of maintaining historically low interest rates, a strategy intended to invigorate the economy. However, this approach inadvertently sowed the seeds for a new housing bubble. Since 2011, the real prices of homes, when adjusted for inflation, have skyrocketed by an astonishing 66%, a rate of increase unparalleled in recent history. Barring the period leading up to the 2008 crisis, this rapid escalation in home prices is not an isolated economic anomaly, but a pattern that has historically been a precursor to a market crash. Each instance of such rapid growth in housing prices has inevitably led to a market correction, aligning with long-standing economic trends. This historical perspective illuminates the cyclical nature of the housing market, underscoring the fact that the lessons from the past have not been adequately heeded. The current market conditions, marked by inflated home prices and low interest rates, mirror the precursors to previous housing market crashes, suggesting that a similar downturn may be on the horizon. The historical trajectory of the housing market, from the 2008 crash to the present, paints a foreboding picture of a market poised on the edge of a precipice, with potential ramifications that could surpass the turmoil experienced more than a decade ago. Oh, by the way, if you like the way I break down complicated financial and money-related topics in a way that's easy to understand, then make sure you support this channel by giving me a like and subscribe to this channel. So onwards with the video. Let's talk about the very interesting topic of inverted yield curves. The inverted yield curve in the bond market stands as a glaring red flag, forewarning of the looming housing crisis. This financial anomaly, characterized by short-term borrowing costs surpassing those of long-term loans, has historically been a reliable harbinger of recessions. Tracing back to the early 1980s, each occurrence of this inversion has inevitably been succeeded by a significant economic downturn, including the notorious recession of 2008. The present inversion, however, is more pronounced than any witnessed in recent history, signaling the likelihood of an impending and severe recession. The peculiar behavior of these curves in the bond market is not just a quirk of financial data, but a profound indication that the foundational economics of the housing market are fundamentally misaligned. The deeper-than-ever inversion is more than a warning. It is an alarm bell that echoes across the financial landscape, indicating that the economy is teetering on the brink of a downturn that could have devastating effects on the housing market and beyond. Then let's take a look at what the bond market is telling us. The bond market's ominous message. The response of the bond market to the Federal Reserve's rate hikes paints a picture of deep-seated skepticism. In a typical economic setting, long-term investments, such as 30-year treasuries, tend to yield higher returns compared to shorter-term investments like 10-year treasuries. However, the current near parity in yields between these two investment options points to a widespread belief among investors that we are entering a prolonged period of inflation and economic uncertainty. This sentiment in the bond market is not just a cautious whisper, but a loud proclamation that the value of tangible assets, including real estate, is under threat. For homeowners like Joe, this translates into a precarious situation where the value of their most significant investment, their homes, is no longer as stable or predictable as once believed. The bond market's reaction is a critical piece of the puzzle, highlighting the underlying volatility in the housing market and serving as a stark reminder of the risks associated with an economy in flux. So, how does this affect the average person? Let's look at the effects on homeowners and investors. The looming housing market crisis transcends macroeconomic discussions, directly impacting homeowners and real estate investors. As interest rates continue their upward trajectory, homeowners find themselves grappling with the reality of escalating mortgage payments. This increase in financial burden poses a substantial risk, potentially leading to a significant rise in foreclosures. The market could soon witness a deluge of undervalued properties, dramatically altering the landscape of real estate ownership. For investors, the situation is equally grim. The prospect of diminishing property values and reduced rental income looms large, threatening the very foundation of their financial portfolios. This impending crisis does not discriminate between the average homeowner and the seasoned investor. It presents a formidable challenge to all stakeholders in the real estate market. The direct impact of rising interest rates, combined with the other converging factors, forms a tangible threat to the financial stability and future prospects of a wide range of individuals and entities invested in the housing market. And this all adds up to the formulation of the perfect storm. We now have a housing crisis in the making for 2024. The current state of the housing market represents a convergence of multiple destabilizing factors, each amplifying the other, culminating in a perfect storm that threatens to precipitate a housing market crash of unprecedented proportions. This brewing crisis is the culmination of skyrocketing mortgage rates, The deceptive impact of inflation on real home prices, the historical patterns of market crashes following rapid price increases, the unsettling signal from inverted yield curves, and the bond market's apprehensive reaction to economic policies. These elements, combined together, indicate that the housing market is not merely on a downturn, but is poised for a collapse that could surpass the scale and impact of the 2008 crisis. This situation is the result of years of specific economic policies and unchecked market practices that have collectively led to an overheated and unsustainable housing market. The impending crash, should it materialize as feared, promises to be a defining moment in the economic history of the 21st century, reshaping the landscape of homeownership, investment, and the broader economy in profound and lasting ways. So what does this mean for the average Joe? As Joe and countless others face this looming crisis, the need for awareness and preparation becomes paramount. Understanding the underlying dynamics is crucial in navigating the challenges ahead. The upcoming housing crash, shaped by complex economic forces, stands as a stark reminder of the cyclical nature of markets and the consequences of ignoring historical lessons.